Two-time Hall of Fame inductees, Brent Godarzi and Marty Young. Back-to-back #1 trucking firm in the nation. Back-to-back best attorney and best law firm in East Texas.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Gilmer Buckeye Coaches Show. I'm Todd Robinson, your host, with the head coach and athletic director of the Gilmer Buckeyes, Coach Alan Metzel. Well, Coach, 56-6, 4-0 in district. We're working on trophy time now. We're coming up into Pleasant Grove. Let's talk about Friday night. Obviously, it was a quite eventful game, but lots of Buckeyes scoring, lots of younger players getting an opportunity to play. Tell us about it from your perspective.
Well, going into the game, we wanted to make sure that we were taking that next step. You always want to take that next step. This week, obviously, is for the district championship. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't waste a week in our preparation. I felt like we had good practices, and so was confident that we would do what we wanted to do as we put it out on the field. I felt like we did. We started fast. We were able to make plays early, get guys the ball that needed to get the ball, make some big pass plays, some big opportunities to get guys maybe running a different route or something that we might use later down the line. And so that was good. And then once those guys would make those plays, then we'd put in another guy and say, okay, here's what we're going to give you. And we'll run these 3 or 4 plays that we had designed for them. And then just kind of rotated through, and then on into the second half where we were able to really get pretty much everybody at some point got to have their share of plays and feel good about finishing out at home, our last home game for the year. So it was a good night.
Well, lots of seniors getting lots of action, but as you've pointed out in last week's Coaches Show, we're just beyond the expected halfway point in this thing.
Correct.
And this game, of course, North Lamar is thrown into the district. Geographically, they're kind of stuck up north, and they're always kind of going to kind of get Pittsburgh and the 271 corridor coming south. But lots of youngsters in that game. You kind of knew coming in that this was going to be a game that a lot of guys are going to get a lot of work.
Right. We knew we had some advantages. We knew that, and that's not a talking bad about them. That, like you say, they're young. They had several freshmen, starting the other night. And so for us, we needed to make it about ourselves, about what do we need to accomplish. We want to get, like I said, certain people the ball on certain schemes and so forth. We want to make sure that our line is continuing to be physical and opening holes. We want to make sure that our tackling is secure, that we're assignment sound on defense. And so I think that we really were able to do that, and we were able to do it with a lot of guys. So that was encouraging, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, obviously 56-6 is always going to be a fun Friday night for senior night at home. But this week coming up, it's trophy time. This is something that's been circled on the calendar literally for 2 years now. Last year for the district title, they have to come to our place. They're defending it last year, and we take it from them. Now the shoe's on the other foot on the exact same scenario, and we got to go to PG. Talk about your thoughts in terms of coming up with week 10 and starting trophy time, because you get a trophy from here on in every single game.
Right. Well, this will be a good challenge for us. Playing in Liberty Island, playing in Pleasant Grove, playing in Texarkana, it's always challenging. And they've done a good job of making their home stadium much to their advantage with a small visitor side and so forth. So, but they defend it well, they play hard, they have a good program. So, whereas some teams you feel like if we can just push into them a little bit, they'll end up quitting somewhere in the game and you can kind of finish them off. That won't happen this week. You'll have to go all the way to the last play of the game. And but that's, as a coach, as a competitor, that's something you enjoy. You relish competition, and so that's how we'll look at it this week. And I think the guys are excited to do it.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look at a little bit of Friday night's action, and we'll talk about PG some more.
Yes, sir. Got our first scoring drive here. Got Ashton Haynes in the backfield, and I put this one specifically on with this end zone look because you're going to see how our line really opened up, just a gaping hole. So take a look. We're working our fullback across, but you can just see we get the backside sealed off with our tackle. We get a push, and the fullback seals. And so, again, it's one of those where you or I could run through there and score on that one. That's what we want Obviously, you've got talented people with the ball in their hands, and Ashton Haynes. But that right there, when you've got a hole like that, you're going to be able to be successful most of the time. Here's our second touchdown. We got the ball back fairly quickly. You're going to see on this tight angle, I marked where they bring a blitz. In college, they call it the NCAA blitz because everyone in the NCAA brings
got
it.
that blitz,
yeah,
right?
they're gonna slant with their D line, and then they're gonna bring their backers. But the thing I'm pleased with is how we picked it up. Take a look here. You're going to see LaDalen Jackson step up and take the inside backer, and then Braden Clinton sees the guy coming off the edge, and he works out. And just that amount of time of getting his hands on that outside backer is what gives Brandon the time to throw. And so it makes it look like an easy throw and catch, at which the throw was really nice, and Parker did a great job on his release and the route. But those guys picking up those blitz players, that was the whole key to the play.
Yeah, it almost looks like a choreographed dance when you have the back do his job and step up, and then Clint recognized that and kick out. BT steps up just in the nick of time, and wide open wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Looks like you planned it that way.
Well, that's the point. That's what you want to do. So here we are on defense. Our defensive front did an excellent job the other night. Here's Matthew Burton. They're down there, and we want to pin them close to our end zone. Matt gets through, makes a big stop. You can see him here from the end zone view. Gets through the line quickly, chases down the quarterback, big tackle for loss there. So those are the kind of things that get us the ball back, and then we get to score again. So here we are on offense again, and we're going to throw a go route to Josiah Rockwell, Jay, and Brandon drops it over his outside shoulder. Great adjustment.
Yeah, it really was.
By Jay. You're going to see him here. I got the wide angle. So he beats his guy easily off the ball, and then you'll see him here make the adjustment, and he ends up going out of bounds on about the 1 or 2, and so we went ahead and ran a play on the next play to get him
Gave it to
in.
him. That was very kind of you,
I
Coach.
hated to get him all the way to the 2 and not let him get in, so we went ahead and ran a screen to him and let him walk in with it. So here we are on defense again. You're going to see our front. When you're playing a triple option team, they're a wishbone team, a broken bone team, and everybody has to have their assignment. So here you see Derek Borda make the quarterback pitch. I've got circled here Michael Colbert. Michael does the key component or the key thing of this play is he stays outside.
Right.
He keeps leverage. Defense is all about leverage, and so he stays outside. Now that allows the rest of the guys, the pursuit, to come in. There's nowhere to go. You have a wall of people. And so now you have a loss for 5 yards.
Yeah, strings it out, keeps his outside arm free. You can't play it any better than he does right there.
That's exactly what you want it to look like right there. So, and then, of course, you got the guys in the black jerseys racing to the ball. Big tackle for loss. So great play there by the defense. Okay, here we are on defense again. You're going to see Keith Rockwell here at linebacker. Now, Keith, on this play, his job is to go wherever the fullback goes. And, of course, they're sending motion and half motion and all sorts of stuff, which we call eye candy, to try and distract you. Keith's got to stay on the fullback. Well, you're going to see they run a screen. They're going to try and run a little fullback screen off of their fake. Our defense, got all these arrows. They come, apply great pressure. Here's the fullback. There's Keith right there on him. Super job of being disciplined, not chasing the guy in motion, not looking at the quarterback. He's watching his man. They throw to him, bam, big play, -5 yards on a pass. You always like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a completed pass for a sack, which
Exactly.
really you don't normally see.
Don't see that.
Only when guys like that are doing their job that well.
That's right. Excellent job by him. Wanted to make sure I got that on here. So here we are on defense again. This again is, you're going to see the assignment football. So we've got our guys staying outside that makes the quarterback pitch, and then we have our corner and our safety running to the pitch, and they come down the line, they pick up 1 yard. When you can string it out all the way down the line, and then you're going to run those alleys and make the tackle, it really makes this type of offense obsolete.
Yeah.
That's how you want it to look. Here we are back on offense. We've got LaDalen Jackson back in the backfield. LaDalen had a tremendous game against Liberty Iowa last week.
Wow, did he? Absolutely. And a great game this week.
And he did.
Both the running backs did again.
That's right. I wanted to go ahead and put this one in. This is the type run that you saw last week by him where he's just refusing to go down. Here we are. We're calling out another play right there. We were calling the next play, And then there he just runs
No
in
need.
for the touchdown. Yeah, he pops out of there.
Just go score. Impressive thing on this play to me is that he almost makes up his mind from the time that the ball is snapped he's going to score.
Right.
Because he doesn't run around that corner out
No.
there. He runs dead into him to initiate the contact, knowing that, look, I'm going to keep my feet churning and get out the back door, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you don't want to tackle because he's coming at you so hard and those knees are driving. And he's like, Coach Turner used to describe it as trying to tackle somebody that's like a ball of knives. You know, you don't want to grab them. Everything's coming at you. Here we are on defense again. You're going to see us, I believe this is Matt's going to make pressure quickly right off the snap, which causes the quarterback to have to pitch fast. Here again, you're going to see Amaro Arona keep leverage on this one, and then here comes the pursuit down into the alley. Great tackle there by Kendall Jackson, and just, zero gain.
Turn them in and fill that lane.
Fill the lane. So good-looking play there. Black flag defense is playing well, good assignment football. And these are the things, it's really good practice playing for next week because they have a similar offense, and you've got to be able to handle your assignments all the way down the line of scrimmage. Here we are on offense again. This is our final touchdown actually it's next to last, but this is Caden Tennyson. And we put him in to take over at quarterback for Brandon. Caden's got a lot of speed and power. He just gets out on the edge, and he runs kind of like LaDalen does. He's angry when he runs and just goes through people and goes and gets that touchdown. So great job by our players there, and I think we're back to the start there.
Well, it's interesting that when you look at the schedule, both last year and this year, kind of a weird district alignment that we have to go north. Wound up, we knew this year we were going to have to go to Texarkana twice, go play Liberty Ilo, and then once more go again this week to play Pleasant Grove. But when you look at the type teams that we get to play, Pittsburgh, who is going to be a playoff team, beat Spring Hill this last year. We said that was the best, unwon team. They had not had a victory all season, 0-7 that existed probably in the state of Texas.
They're ascending.
They'll wind up making the playoffs. We saw the caliber athletes that they had, but very much a packed in, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, keep away from the Buckeyes strategic team. We saw it this week, although we obviously kind of had North Lamar outmatched. Traditionally, that's exactly how Pleasant Grove has always played us, and their little run of district championships and even state championship appearance and won one in 2017, they kind of utilized that same philosophy. Is that what you expect this week again with the Buckeyes up there, is just to say, look, we've got to make the most of every snap that we've got possession of the ball?
They're going to run the clock down to around 10, and then they're going to sprint out of the huddle and line up on the line and run the play. And so they're milking that clock every time to strength the game. And that's part of their philosophy, and they do a good job of it. They've got some really good backs. They've got a sophomore back, the Boardley kid, who, he's over 200 pounds, really good-looking kid, number 15. Played against us last year as a freshman, and a really good, talented player. They've got Landon Jackson's younger brother, who's a tight end. He's a freshman. He's like 6'6", 245.
Yeah, he looks like Landon looked when he was a freshman, when he was living in Gilmer.
He does, yeah. He's got the size. They've got some big guys. But they're going to try and shrink the game. You're exactly right with their philosophy of how they'll play. Like I said, they're big up front on their defensive line. They've got some really good athletes. So they're going to try and get it into a slower pace, try and limit the number of snaps we have and so forth. And so for us, we've just got to make the most of those snaps. Whenever we have them, we've got to execute and be able to move the ball, keep the sticks moving, and obviously get in the end zone when we get in that red zone.
Right. Well, both teams coming in 4-0 in district play. You've watched them play the same teams now because we get them in week 10, so it's all on film. There's not going to be any secrets that they have from us or we have from them. So in terms of just normally how they come into a Gilmer game with that same philosophy, do you expect any different wrinkles coming in? Because we've seen Pleasant Grove, seems like year after year after year now, all the way back to the early 2000s. It's not like we're not familiar with each other.
Right.
So when you're preparing in this week, is it, do you plan on some wrinkles coming and have some wrinkles for them too?
Absolutely. And they've done that for pretty much every time we've played them. they don't just go out there and do what they always do. They're going to have some type of unbalanced thing. I saw in the Liberty ILO game, they ran a gate, in the middle of the field. There's going to be things like that you've got to prepare for. And so how do you prepare for that? Well, you want to be sound in your call. So let's say it's defensively, and Tommy will put our guys in positions where he makes a call, but what they're in doesn't work. And we have to practice, okay, so we do this when we have to adjust.
Right.
You have something that's a base that you're going to call and adjust from there, so everybody's on the same page. So those are things that we'll work on defensively. Offensively, we'll try and have looks, formations or plays that they're not going to just be able to go, oh, well, they're running this because this is where the wingback is, the fullback set or the inside receiver. So no doubt we'll give them some different looks.
Now, also, unlike last year, we expected potentially to see Pleasant Grove again 4 weeks from now in the playoffs. Luckily, I think it was Caddo Mills that wound up upsetting Pleasant Grove, but I know that knowing a lot of folks in Pleasant Grove, they fully expected to see us twice. I know this year, no matter what the outcome of the game is this Friday night, they're expecting to see us again down the road. Does that play a factor, knowing too that this is almost already a playoff game, and quite frankly, maybe even more challenging, not just because it's a district championship, but because of the familiarity and there's potentially a second game. Obviously, you go play by district and the winner goes on and the loser goes home, you don't see him again. But in this case, is this kind of like a prelude to a playoff game?
Very much could happen. I would think that that's likely, in fact. When you look at the brackets and so forth, I feel like our district will do well in the playoffs. So when you're talking about the preparation of it, definitely that there's a familiarity, definitely that we're going to give looks and so forth and know that they will. From the standpoint of will we hold something back, I would say no, just because that's once you play this game, it's going to be 4 more weeks. So you're talking about another month before you'll play them again. And you could have an injured player or whatever. You gotta take care of what you got to take care of now, and we'll deal with that in 4 weeks, and hopefully we'll still be playing in 4 weeks. So those are the ways that we look at it, and maybe someone else does different or whatever. But we're going to go play to beat them this week, and that's all that matters.
Well, it's been interesting this week, obviously with the band, and appreciate you so much taking the guys and going to support the band.
Yeah, we had a great time.
I think I answered more text in terms of music than I have since Here Come the Buckeyes in terms of when do we cheer, how does this work, how does it go. Great experience for the guys, but also great to see Gilmer have an opportunity to have success at that level.
Absolutely. 2 years in a row, to be up in the top 3 in the state. That's amazing.
We tie Henderson, but one thing I did talk to Brandon Garman about was that, it's not like football, because if you notice, both Lindale, who won the state championship, they put 140 kids on the field. Henderson puts 135 on the field. We put 90.
Right.
And he said to make sure to tell you that this would be like getting to the state championship game and having to play Longview.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, fortunately, we won't. We know we will have our hands full if we get that far.
Sure.
But it's trophy time from here on in. So any last thoughts going into this week? We don't want to interrupt your preparation with what's going on down here on Sunday afternoon anymore. It's trophy time, and it's time to let you guys get to work.
Well, the guys are in there working right now. I'm counting on that. We'll have our staff meeting here in a little bit and set up our plan offensively, defensively, special teams by the end of this night, have our practices planned for tomorrow morning. And we're excited. There'll be an energy this week that is gonna be fun, the fever pitch. And our guys, they take this game seriously, and I know our fans do. And so it should be an exciting game this week. Defending district champions. Well, we don't talk about it, and I certainly don't want to jinx it, Coach, but you have been the fastest Gilmer Buckeyes coach, tied now with your predecessor, Coach Turner, of the fastest Gilmer Buckeye coach to 20 wins. Okay. Fastest to 10 wins. And depending upon how this playoff run goes, in Jerry's world, you'll have the outside chance of becoming the fastest Gilmer Buckeye coach to put together ever, all completely combined, 2 back-to-back seasons. So the guys in the field house now literally have been as successful as any Gilmer Buckeye team in history up until this point.
That's a mouthful. That's
Well,
saying something. So congratulations to
Thank
you.
you.
Share that with your entire staff. No pressure. But we need the Gilmer Buckeye Army to show up next week. If not, join us online, and we will now. It's trophy time from here on in, folks. It gets real. So for myself, Todd Robinson, the head coach and athletic director, Coach Alan Metzel,
Thank you.
we say we'll see you next week, hopefully with a district title, and continue to talk about trophy time.
That's it.
Appreciate it, Coach. Go Buckeyes.